What's up, YouTubers? This is your boy Big Metroid Fan 12 coming to you with a movie review. And in this review, I'm going to talk about the movie Ghostbusters Answer the Call, which was released in the theaters in big 2016. It was directed by Paul Feig, written by Paul Feig and Kate DePaul, and it starred Kristen Wiig, Melissa McCarthy, Kate McKinnon, Leslie Jones, and Chris Hemsworth and stuff like that. And this movie is supposed to serve as a reboot of the first Ghostbusters movie, but it pretty much is a by the numbers remake of that movie and everything. And the plot of the movie is that Aaron Gilbert, played by Kristen Wiig, is trying to get tenured at Columbia University, but she ends up getting fired along with Gabby and Holtzman, played by Melissa McCarthy and Kate McKinnon, respectively, and they start their own business. If this sounds familiar to you, it's essentially because it's the first Ghostbusters movie, plot and everything. And this is why I say this movie is a by the numbers remake instead of being a reboot and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But one of the main things I noticed about Ghostbusters Answer the Call is that it ripped off a lot of the major scenes within Ghostbusters. You know what I'm saying? The first one being the opening scene, which pretty much lasts a little longer than the opening scene from Ghostbusters. I say by a couple of minutes and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And you got the opening scene where the tour guide encounters a ghost and gets scared, and he runs and the floor breaks up. He end up dangling from the floor where after it broken up it goes into the title sequence. But the one thing that particular opening sequence did not answer is how this dude escaped to begin with. You know what I'm saying? It's like Paul Feig and Kate DePaul didn't bother to answer that question. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it didn't make any sense for them to do that. You know what I'm saying? To me, Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis pretty much answered that question with the librarian in the first Ghostbusters movie. Just by which the librarian sees the ghost, she screams and runs away. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty simple. You know what I'm saying? But Paul Feig and Kate DePaul was just too lazy to really answer that question of how this tour guide escaped and everything. Of course, there's other examples of them borrowing from the first Ghostbusters movie. The other two, for example, would be like them getting fired and starting their own business, stuff like that. But when it comes to Aaron Gilbert, played by Kristen Wiig, one thing I noticed is that she just had a personality of a pretty much a wet spaghetti noodle. You know what I'm saying? She did. She really didn't do nothing or say anything that was actually memorable or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be honest enough to admit, it would be more entertaining to watch wet paint dry. You know what I'm saying? So she just what Aaron Gilbert was just wasn't interested at all. You know what I'm saying? I'll be honest with you about that. And when it comes to Melissa McCarthy in this movie, it's just like it's nothing. It's seems like she plays the same character as she did in any previous comedies that she did, whether it's movies or television show. Then there's the fact that the slapstick was just added to this particular character. And the main problem is that, of course, the Ghostbusters franchise as a whole, whether you're talking about the first two movies, the real Ghostbusters, even Ghostbusters the video game, the humor always been known to be the dry, weedy humor and all that. And you can give any example. You can give any scene as an example in the first two Ghostbusters movies and stuff like that. Like when say like Dan Aykroyd assaulted Walter Peck in the third act of Ghostbusters. It's like and the man was like, "This is this true?" And like, and then Peter like, yes, it's true. The man has no penis and stuff like that. I know to clean it up a little bit, but you get the point. He got that dry witty humor, and this slapstick stupid humor to me just has no place in Ghostbusters if you really know what you're doing in terms of writing. And and I'll be honest enough to admit there's nothing wrong with slapstick comedy when it's done right and in proper context, like with Three Stooges or with something like Dumb and Dumber or something like that. But like I said, slapstick has no place in Ghostbusters. It really don't. You know what I'm saying? Now, when it comes to say like another issue is the one joke supposed to be a running gag about wonton soup, and that supposed running gag just wasn't funny at all. You know what I'm saying? They should have left it out. You know what I'm saying? Just it was Stomp for me. It's just a big stinker and everything. And when it comes to Kate McKinnon's character, it seemed like Kate McKinnon is trying to do a Jim Carrey impersonation, which honestly fall flat rather quickly. And it seems like she was trying to do Jim Carrey as Ace Ventura, which is didn't really make any sense. Is why did she want to copy do a Jim Carrey version for especially Ace Ventura, though I don't know. It just make me see she should it should have been left out from start to finish. You know what I'm saying? And then there's Leslie Jones. She there's a couple of times where she was pretty much loud and obnoxious, which wasn't as funny either. You know what I'm saying? Especially during the third act. You know what I'm saying? And like a lot of stuff, the majority of the scenes with her was just either fell flat or just wasn't funny at all. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to Chris Hemsworth's character Kevin, he was just a dumb, useless, and his Chris Hemsworth's performance was just outright cringe-worthy. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like Kevin they couldn't even do basic stuff like answer the phone or anything like that. And the only reason Kevin got fired because Aaron had the hots for him. You know what I'm saying? That's the only reason he got hired. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like um, with Chris Hemsworth's character, there's no way in the world Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd would have gotten away with it with Janine back in 1984, mainly because the feminists back in 1984 would have had a show enough Hall of Fame hissy fit if Janine was portrayed as a useless, dumb character who couldn't do the basic tasks like answering the phone. You know what I'm saying? But Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis wasn't about just doing it for the sake of doing it. As far as Janine's character is concerned, they was trying to make a good movie with memorable characters and all that. You know what I'm saying? And pretty much they just kept on reminding you how dumb Kevin was. You know what I'm saying? And to me, the most cringe-worthy part that I saw with Kevin was when he hit the gong and he covered his eyes. And man, I was honestly straight frustrated with that scene as to why would they even do that for. Not only make it remind you that Kevin is dumb, but make him cover his eyes when he hit the gong. You know what I'm saying? That was so cringe-worthy. And when it came to the main villain, he was essentially some creepy dude who got picked on when he was younger and nobody liked him, you know what I'm saying? And there was nothing about this dude that was really memorable at all. You know what I'm saying? And all of them share this one similarity. I'll say two similarities. Basically, all of them were unfunny, like character development. And with the third thing I'm about to mention is they was all one dimensional, and this shows to me that Kate DePaul and Paul Feig didn't care about making a good movie. You know what I'm saying? They just want to push the squirrel power narrative and everything. You know what I'm saying? At this, especially at the expense of dudes. You know what I'm saying? This movie was just outright sexist. You know what I'm saying? Due to the fact that all the male characters in the movie were either cowards, morons, or jerks. You know what I'm saying? I'll give him the example of the moron aspect of it. Mainly Kevin, he was a complete doofus, complete moron, and it made no sense for him to do that. And another example of it would be the jerks. Mainly, the vast majority of the dudes in here were outright jerks. Like for example, the dude that fired Melissa McCarthy's character and Kate McKinnon's character. And there was one part there before they got fired. He just kept flipping them off for no reason whatsoever. And he never explained why he fired them to begin with. You know what I'm saying? That was like with the first Ghostbuster movie, Dean Yeager pretty much explained why Peter Ray and Egon got fired. It was mainly due to Peter mostly because he said all his theories and methods were pretty much outright sloppy. Even though the way Dean Yeager explained himself were kind of haughty and stuff, but he gave legitimate reasons for why they got fired. But in this movie, Aaron, Gabby, and Horseman pretty much they had no reason to get fired. Really, you know what I'm saying? It's just that this movie just was just lazy and forgettable and all that. You know what I'm saying? Now, pretty much, like I said, it's pretty much Ghostbusters Answer The Call didn't do anything to explain certain things. One of them I mentioned earlier about the dude in the opening scene who encountered the ghost. They explain how he escaped. You know what I'm saying? Another thing that they didn't explain is how Horseman got the money to build all the equipment that she built. Again, compared it to the first Ghostbuster movie, the reason they had got the money to build the equipment and stuff that they needed is because Peter convinced Ray to take at least like 2 or 3 mortgages on his house and everything. But with this one, there's no explanation. It's kind of like, how did they get the money to build the equipment and set up their their website too? They didn't explain how they got the money to build this website unless they saved their money, which they didn't explain that one either. You know what I'm saying? And pretty much another thing they didn't explain is how the main villain got the money to build all the stuff that he had and got it work and everything. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff that they didn't explain. You know what I'm saying? Another example would be when the main enemy committed suicide. They never explained how he got his powers to begin with after he died. You know what I'm saying? With Vigo and Gozer, it was easily explained how they got their powers. Gozer, for example, was a demigod worshipped by the Sumerians, and Gozer power was pretty much explained like right there. And with Vigo, he was a warlock who got killed and later trapped in a painting. And nobody had to guess how, like I said, how those two got their powers. So how did this main enemy in Ghostbusters Answer the Call get his powers? You know what I'm saying? especially since he wasn't menacing at all like Vigo and Gozer and stuff. Now, I will say that the CGI isn't necessarily bad in and of itself, but it looks like the CGI that you see in Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy and the two live Scooby Doo movies. You know what I'm saying? My point is that the CGI in Ghostbusters Answer the Call just lacks originality with like the design and colors and all that. You know what I'm saying? No innovation. Now, like I said earlier, this movie rips off a lot of the major scenes in from Ghostbusters. You know what I'm saying? The most infamous one is the fact that the main enemy of Ghostbusters Answer the Call said choose the form of the destructor, just like Gozer said in the first Ghostbusters movie, and um, it ended up being a giant version of the Ghostbusters logo instead of being the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and stuff like that. Not exactly original, you know what I'm saying? And the way they did defeat this main enemy in Ghostbusters Answer the Call is shooting him in the crotch. Boy, how unoriginal and lazy was Paul Feig to even think of shooting him in the crotch? You know what I'm saying? That was just lazy, so unoriginal. He shouldn't have been hired to even direct or write this movie, man. I mean, there was no major risk of them hitting him in the crotch like that. Nah, I'm not been comparing this movie to Ghostbusters, but I'm forced to. You know what I'm saying? Because they borrowed a whole lot of stuff from it. Like there were different types of risks that the Ghostbusters faced throughout the course of the movie. Like I mentioned earlier, the money, how they got the money. It was like with that taking out a couple of mortgages is pretty risky for starting a business and everything, especially if you fail and stuff. Another risk that the Ghostbusters faced in the first movie is crossing the streams, which they used to defeat Gozer. Now, Egon explained that cross the stream, but they gonna die by their body exploding. But in Ghostbusters Answer the Call, they didn't even face 10% of the risk that the original Ghostbusters faced. You know what I'm saying? So it, it didn't make no sense for them to not have risk at all. You know what I'm saying? Especially with how they defeated the enemy and stuff. And then there's the fact that New York City wasn't even damaged after the main enemy was defeated in Ghostbusters After the Call. It's kind of like it's pretty much shouldn't there be some type of damage to New York City, whether it's a particular building or some car or whatever. And when it was all over, the mayor's office like denied it and called them frauds. It was something they did throughout the course of the movie, and this is something that was never done in the first Ghostbusters movie. They pretty much heard about the Ghostbusters, but when they really needed help, when the mayor really needed help, they called Peter Ray, Egon Winston. You know what I'm saying? They had to explain the situation. You know, and there's none of this that I mentioned. This made no sense for the mayor to like call them frauds and whatever, and the fact that the Ghostbusters never had faced any risk or anything like they did in the first two movies and stuff like that. Now, can I honestly say that that Ghostbusters Answer the Call was just as bad as it was when it came out back 4 years ago? Most definitely, it's one of the worst movies that I've seen here within the last 4 years. You know what I'm saying? It was bad to the point that it actually bombed and it lost $70 million in the process. You know what I'm saying? Another reason why this movie was bad, not because the bad writing, CGI, the dialogue didn't flow and anything like that. You add to the fact that when the movie and the trailer came out, people didn't like it. Paul Feig and other people started calling men sexist and misogynist for not liking it. You know what I'm saying? Which it wasn't true. This movie was just bad. You know what I'm saying? He's like Paul Feig just didn't take no responsibility in how bad this movie is. You know what I'm saying? Instead of taking responsibility, he wanted to do the name calling part. Instead, hasn't taken responsibility to this day. You know what I'm saying? And this movie was a big time fail. You know what I'm saying? And pretty much, Ghostbusters Answer the Call is one of the worst reboots that's ever been made. You know what I'm saying? Probably not the worst, but it's definitely top five worst for sure. You know what I'm saying? But in reality, this movie is just a bad bounding number remake of the original Ghostbusters movie. You know what I'm saying? As far as the score, I definitely give it 2 out of 10 because it really didn't have no redeeming value to it. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, um you can pretty much mention it in the comment section. You can write it off in the comment section what you like or didn't like or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? And if you like this video, don't hesitate to click the thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification button. This is your boy Big Metroid Fan 12 signing off.